Hello and welcome to Reservoir Red Dogs. Don't forget you can email the show, rrd1865@outlook.com. You can tweet us at rrd1865 and please leave a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, if reviews are allowed, because it just helps spread the word about the show and lets other people find it. Today's guest, I mean, I've got to say, this is a real surprise package. I'd never met Lee Glover before, so I didn't know what to expect. His memory is incredible. Like the stories he's got, my word, it was almost like we were in a police interrogation room and he just started squealing like a canary. It was just like, wow, he's telling us everything. He's got so many great tales.
Yeah, torch in his face. Oh, he could have gone on for hours, couldn't he?
You know what? It's one of those where you think we limit ourselves to roughly an hour because for our guests, we don't want to abuse their time. For the listener, we don't want to put out something that's overly long. But man, sometimes we get to the end and you think, oh, I could have done another hour. Now, obviously, we can get people back on, which is great. But, oh, man.
Do you know what? It's
so
quite
funny.
I really enjoy, I mean, it's lovely to see Glove again. He's a top man. But I really enjoy those. I really enjoy the players that were in that. We're in mid, like we're in a stasis. We're in like this no man's land of like the great teams. You know, the middle grounds. Because there's so many great overlaps of great players and the building into a team and the coming out of a great team. It's just a lovely little area to unpick, isn't it?
It's great. Now, obviously, there is a particular thing you would expect us to ask Lee Glover about, and we do ask him. But in a way, I kind of thought the interview was going to build to that. I think we talk about it quite early. It's kind of like what's amazing is that amazing thing is the least amazing thing about this interview. He's just got so many great stories. We're just so excited for you to listen to this. So I shall now shut up and leave you with the amazing Lee Glover. Welcome to Reservoir Red Dogs. We're delighted to be joined by the infamous Lee Glover. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you on. Obviously, the whole interview is building up to that free kick in 1991 and your role in it. So let's just acknowledge that that's where this is going. But let's start at the start. How did you come to be signed by Nottingham Forest? Were you scouted?
Yeah, so I first went up as 11-year-old. I think I stayed in the Balmoral Hotel in Bridgeford, one of them. I stayed in one of them, a group of other lads, and was backwards and forwards between then and 16. But on the way up, about 14, 15, and I was going round on trial, as everyone does. I never got offered anything. This lad I was with kept getting offered a year apprentice and a year pro, and I was like, I'm struggling here. A guy local lad, Phil Spawn. He was an apprentice, but he didn't get through. But you know, it's like he's getting offered all sorts, and I'm thinking on the train back with him, he's going, did they offer you anything? Like, nah. They said they might invite me back. Yeah, one of them. So it was at all these clubs in the Midlands. But I remember going up to Nottingham. I was about 15 then, and I got off the train and I had my bag with me. And this lad gets off with his suitcase on wheels, just pulling it along. I'd never seen a suitcase on wheels then. It was Charles. Coffee lad, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Gary Charles.
Flash.
And he's got his suitcase on wheels, and we're like hold-alls and that. And that's how I met Gas Charles. And then it was the end of that week, they offered me, Charles, I think Big Norm, they offered us a scholarship or an apprenticeship as it was in the day. So that got my foot in the door, like.
So that's in 1987.
That'd have been 85, 84, 85.
Oh, man. So at that time, you're what, 14 years old?
14, yeah. So I came to the club when I was 11, and then that would have been 14, 15 when I started meeting all the lads.
And
were you with any other clubs? Were you going on trial at any other clubs?
Yeah, to near the end, it was Leicester or Forest. Notts County, who were in the first division at the time, had a couple of nice letters off. Mick Walker, do you remember Mick Walker?
Mick Walker, yeah, lovely fella.
Yeah, brilliant guy. He phoned the house and wrote a couple of letters. But really, when I got offered the apprenticeship at Forest, I mean, the club then was such a, well, you know, it's in the champ now, but it was a top club, wasn't it? It was like, wow, if you get offered something at Forest, you've got to consider that.
So, I mean, Clough obviously runs through this podcast. Intimidating enough meeting him at any time, but meeting him as a 14-year-old trainee must have been very daunting.
Massively. I'll tell you what, seen him at 20-year-old, I was still frightened of the man. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. It was when I joined pre-season, he didn't come pre-season. And you seen him about 2 weeks after we'd done the running, and you didn't see him, you seen the dog, you heard the dog. And I remember, I think it was Paul Crichton, he was the year above goalkeeper in the apprentices in the youth team, and he kept, the gaffer's in. And I tell you what, it was like an electric current going through the building. I mean, everyone was on their toes then because the gaffer was in. He'd stayed in Mallorca for another 2 weeks or something, as he did. He knew the script, didn't he?
It was always like that, Glove, wasn't it? It was like even if it's because he wouldn't come in every day, so you'd be on your toes the entire time.
So I didn't know that. So he would just sort of obviously he'd be there on match days, but in the week, was there sort of no rhyme or reason to when he'd turn up?
No. And you'd be training and he'd appear. You'd see the dog first. You'd hear the dog. I mean, you know, if you were running around blindfolded, right, you would know he's on the training ground because everyone would everything went up a notch. Like that dog would appear barking. You think tackles would be flying in, and you think, yeah, he's about somewhere.
So when he's not there, it was Archie, Gemmell, and Liam O'Kane would run things.
Yeah, brilliant. They were brilliant. They were brilliant with the youth policy, and then the sort of group I was in was Charlesy, Norm, myself. Chet's was a year older, Starby, and Terry Wilson. Remember Tell? Tell was fantastic. Yeah. And we were all run about, and Archie and Liam done a lot of work with us and got a lot of people through. So they sort of moved up when all that group moved up to around the first team squad.
Terry Wilson, actually, you're the second person in the trilogy of that photo of Brian Rice, Lee Glover, and Terry Wilson in kilts.
Well, Rice didn't put it on right.
Yeah, well, we had him on the other week. He said he was on the wrong way round.
Yeah, and I heard it, and I seen him putting it on, and I thought, he's joking. He wants me to follow suit. So I walk out then. When we get the photo done, he's whipped it round. I was thinking, back. I'd been to a wedding and got it done like for the photos, and I thought, no, I'm sure I'm there at the back, then please. And then when we turned up for the photo, I thought, he's been born in Scotland, lived there all his life. I thought, I'm not sure. So, yeah, it was a great podcast. I enjoyed it with him.
Oh, no, nice so nice funny. Your accent then, Lee, obviously you've got the sort of Northamptonshire accent with a bit of Scottish in there. I mean, Corby is full of Glaswegian steelworkers. Is that your family background?
Yeah. And Mrs.'s dad's background. So it was all sort of Scottish miners and steel workers moved here. So there's that sort of Scottish twang, and all the clubs that the main supported teams were Rangers and Celtic for a period. So yeah, there was that sort of heavy influence. So yeah, that's and I always used to. It was good for me because I was a Rangers fan. Ricey was a Celtic fan, and at Christmas they used to give you a tenner because I had to do his kit. I had to do Franz's. Do you remember Dudley, Brett Williams?
I do remember Brett
Williams.
With
the tash.
Yeah, duds. So I'd done him duds and Ricey's duds and Franz's boots, which was a nightmare for Franz because Franz was in between Adidas and Puma. And he'd come in and go, Glove, get me the Kings today. They'd be the only pair I hadn't cleaned. I think, Jesus, I'll have to clean them. And then he'd go, I want the World Cups. Bring them up as well. Yeah, he was constant. He had loads of pairs, whereas Ricey and Brett, they had a couple of pairs. That was it, done. So I didn't have much to do with them.
I don't know if you remember, Glove, but I did yours.
Did I wear you in at Christmas? Or are you going to pull me up? I must have done.
Well, you had Nigel to compete with. So Nigel bunged me like 400 quid and you were like, fuck off. I'm not giving him that.
You know what? I seen that envelope and I thought, what's he doing? I felt under pressure. And I was like, I put another, you know what? I put another 20 in, didn't I? Must have done.
You must have done.
I was up against it there. Well, Rice used to give us a tenner. Well, the lads give you a tenner at Christmas. You're on £27.30. So it was a nice little fun.
Yeah.
And he used to go, hey?
Why was Brett Williams called Duds?
He comes from Dudley. And
all right.
And the skipper, Piercy, used to hammer him and go, oh, what's happening in the Glass Museum in Dudley? There was I don't know if there is a Glass Museum, but the skipper used to batter him for it. And I always thought, I'll look that up because it used to be a focal point in the dressing room. About this Glass Museum, I used to think, Dudley got battered for it. But he was brilliant, Brett. Brett was
great, yeah.
So Rice used to go, right, well, I love double quits on the Old Firm game. And I used to go, I'm not, that 10 was a lot to me then. And it was just when Rangers started to get good. Like Sunison came in. So I used to have a right result with Ricey as I got moved in the dressing room. He'd say, we're having the Old Firm. He'd go, yeah. And I had a good result with Rangers all the time with him. So I used to have a bit of banter with him.
And what are your memories of Macca then when he was doing your boots?
Sometimes you judge people on the standards of the boots that were coming back to me. Nah, they were all right. They were brand new. To be fair, he done well.
I remember them being massive.
You want the boots?
You got big feet. Oh no, that's not bad. That's not bad. It might have been Tommy Gaynor. I had you and Tommy Gaynor. It might have been Tommy's that were like.
Might have been Tom. I mean, he was. Yeah.
It was like having Tommy's boots, like having 3 pros. They were just like this, like cleaning a canoe.
Did you ever have to do the socks? I don't know if they still done it when you came in. And this was a big thing. You had to wash the socks for the lads. You had to do your own kit, but everyone got appointed to do the socks for the week. But I forgot to do them.
Oh.
And all the pros are coming in the morning, and I think it was Charles who goes, "Glove, where's the socks?" And I goes, "Oh, I said, Gaz, I've left them in the washer." My pants because I had to run down. And you can't go in the first team dressing room after 9:30 because there's Ian Bowyer, Gary Birtles, Millsy. So you're getting smashed if you go in there after 9:30. And I put them on the heater, and I was going down every 5 minutes, bringing them out. And the steam's coming off them, like they're really warm, but they're still soaking. And anyway, I goes in and says to Rice, he was in early because he lived across the bridge. He comes in, he goes, "Where's the socks gone?" I said, "Rice, I've had a nightmare." Thinking he's my friend. So I've had a nightmare here, Rice. I said, "Give me 20 minutes here." He said, "I'll look after you." I come back in just after it. He must have told everyone Gloves had a nightmare here. There's no fucking socks, lads. And the one you were scared about was Bomber Ian Bowyer, double European Cup winner. I walk in, he goes, "I played a couple of games in the Resies, have you? You think you're a player?" And like, all I'd done was forget the socks. And I was like, "Bomber, I'm sorry."
That was it, wasn't it? Anything you got wrong, you were big time.
Yeah. Anything. And I got them dried and took them in. Rice was pissing himself. He teed me up. I think everyone that came in, he would go, "No socks." "Yeah, glove." It's just like a hand grenade thrown there waiting for me. So, I was scared to go in the dressing room. We all were. That first team dressing room. Oh, my God. You didn't go in there.
No.
Looking back, obviously, you named some of the people there. And Clough as manager, it's almost like the biggest collection of alpha males on the planet were all at Forest at that point. It must have been so scary.
So then I got moved into the dressing room the year after. I think me and Charlie signed pro. And I met Charlie walking down into the car park, and he goes, "Oh, Glove, you're number 18. You had your number." I goes, "No." He goes, 18. I thought, 18? I thought. So 1 to 21 was the first team dressing room. So Sutty was 1, Nigel was 21. Everyone got filled in, ran about. I thought, I'm in the first team dressing room. I was too young. For it. So I go in there, I'd sit down quietly. I thought, I can't say anything here. You know what I mean? Sutty would shout, "Glove, shut up for f***'s sake." And I hadn't said that. Like, you know what I mean? So Sutty was on my case straight away. And I'd be sitting there and I'd think, oh my God. And I'd think if someone says, "Do you want a cup of tea?" I'll go and get them. And I'll go down to the Resi trains and sit with the lads, like, because you're under so much pressure. But it was funny. You didn't go in that dressing room, not with them boys.
So then when you do get called up to the first team, I mean, anyway, that must be amazing at any club you're at, particularly at Forest at that point. But for that changing room to kind of almost have like a mythical status around it, when you've earned your place in there, that must be an incredible feeling.
It was, but I heard Ricey saying that he felt a bit insecure in there at times. I know what he meant. I felt massively insecure and so naive. I mean, so I probably came straight off the council estate in '86, got offered a contract as soon as I was 17, got moved into the dressing room. And then I remember my debut, and I was rooming with friends car, and go down to Charlton Way. And we get up in the morning and Franz goes, "You want to go and get a drink? It's boiling hot." You know what I mean? It's summer, August. I goes, "Yes." We walk down to a corner shop and Franz gets a bottle of Volvic or something. And me being me as a naive 70-year-old, I get a can of Pepsi, don't I? Right? We walk out and we walk straight into the gaffer. So Franz is there opening his Volvic, right? And I come out behind him, not knowing who's there, and go, Gaff, what the are you drinking? And I was like, it's can, boss. You're a imbecile. You're playing in 3 hours. And that's how he told me I was playing, by the way. He goes, you're playing in 3 hours. And Liam was with him, and the gaffer had this thing of opening it up to everyone and going, Liam, we've got one here, haven't we? He's playing in 3 hours. Look, he's having a can of pop. So I'm like, I was naive, but I mean, it was really silly, wasn't it? So I didn't know whether to drink the pop or just throw it. So, it's one of them to just bin this. I've just bought it. I thought, I'll have a couple of drinks because I was first. It was, and he's only drinking it. He's only drinking it. So Gaffer was the master of leaving something open-ended and then hammering you whatever way you went. So I had a couple of drinks and binned it and I walked off. And then we played the game and I scored. But we're losing 1-0 at half time. And the Gaffer came in and just went, you just need to move the ball quicker. That was the team talk. 2-touch, what you do, move the ball quicker. And we went back out and I equalised and then Nige got a real good winner. Bent the shot in. But after I scored, you know this, Macca, I gave the ball away twice on the bounce.
Oh. So
nothing was said. And I come in the dressing room and the gaffer's just inside the door. I thought, he's waiting to congratulate me. And he goes, you? The usual shout. Okay. So you played 5 minutes, you made your debut, you think you're a player, don't you? You gave the ball away twice on the bounce. And he followed me as I walk in and gets up, follows me around. Absolutely hammered me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" The rest of the lads have won away. They're all like, "Brilliant!" He's just at me hammering me. So
it was a big thing, that wasn't it? Keeping the ball when you scored a goal, win it back as soon as possible and keep it, innit?
Yeah. Oh, it was massive. And he used to always put the ball in the middle of the dressing room, and he used to go, "Yeah, I'm a 5-yarder. You can even give a 5-yarder." And so I go in the shower. I thought, get out of the way. I stripped off, got in the shower, and I just got the shower on my head, and lads come in. Webby was opposite me. Webby's opposite me, and he goes, Webby's laughing. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And just out of the flow of the shower, the gaffer's there with his face like that, right at me. I can't see because of the water. And I'm like, and then a clock is there, and I look at him and goes, hey, still think you're a fucking player, do you? And I'm like, he's followed me in the shower to hammer me. I mean, where can you go now? I'm in the shower naked. I've got nowhere to go. So I just stand there. And it was funny because to finish it all off, the lads are pissing themselves. I get the shampoo and I'm starting washing my hair. And I can't get the lava out. Unbeknownst to me, one of the lads is behind me with a shampoo bottle like this. So,
it's a classic.
So, you know what I mean? It's your debut. You've scored. I've got flaky scalp for a month. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that was the dressing room. The gaffer just unbelievable.
It's mad that you had like a bit, like, obviously when I was coming through, you were one of those established players. So knowing that you had a bit of imposter syndrome sat in there with all those players as well.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder what level of players actually had that as well. Like, did Chet's feel that way when he was established? And, at what point did you kind of relax into it? And
I
mean, I got close to it at some point towards the end, but I can remember sitting there just looking around. When you first go up, you're looking around going, what am I doing here?
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. I mean, there's a lot of lads like that. And I think Chet's, you have to have a little bit of character about you to stay in there because it is difficult. I mean, there's a few egos. Mine's the gaffer dealt with them. The gaffer sort of them, but it was difficult. And I heard when Ricey said that, I thought that's spot on. Yeah. And but the other thing, I've got my son now was Chad. This is a few years ago. He was just coming up to 16, 17 at school. He goes, Dad, he must have been reading about Forest. He goes, but he's running this cup final, that semi, that final over this period. And it's like, I said, Fraser, you didn't realise at the time.
Yeah.
I said, you just had your head down, but you were involved in stuff where later on you go, that was a team, by the way. You know what I mean? It was one of them with all the stuff that was going on. There was a 5-year period when all the youth team lads got involved and the gaffer brought people in. Ted came in, superb, and different people came in. And you thought, wow, this is a decent outfit here. You know what I mean? It was.
You know what? I didn't think about it at all until doing this podcast. I mean, I'm sure you're the same. You get on a bit, don't you? And then it just starts. I wouldn't have ever thought about looking back at that period I'm just not like that. And then you start doing the podcast, and like we're going for pints and that. And Johnny and Matt sat there, and they're like, "That was you like played in that side in that game, you know." And you end up thinking, "Oh yeah, do you know what? It was actually." But at the time, you just don't think, do you? And then 20 years can go by without you even thinking about it once. You see something on Twitter, and you go, "Oh, okay." And then you look back, and your son's asking you, and you're thinking, "Wow,
yeah."
What a side.
Yeah. It was frightening the way things were happening. You know, you turned up to games. The gaffer had you in that frame of mind where you'd get results anywhere. It really was. And there was some good characters in there. I mean, Piercy. Sutty was really good with the lads. They were more older. Des Walker, Piercy, Franz and Nige were sort of a couple of years above us, but they were all in the England 21s and then full squads were Webby. And then, so I think you looked at it, and then the other lads emerged. Stoney came in for a bit. Oh, Charlesy did. Charles was a player.
Yeah.
Charlesy was a top player. The academy or youth setup had done really well. Alan Hill and Liam and Archie and Mick Rayner, I think.
Yeah.
Really good outfit. I mean, it was really good at the time, yeah.
And are you similar to Paul, Lee, in that at the time it sort of, you know, I guess you just said it there, it didn't really sort of dawn on you how big it was. And then you go through a period where you don't think about it. And then is it only perhaps in the last few years when you've started to properly reminisce about your football career?
Yeah, it's frightening because I've not kept any. The trophies are sort of in a bag. My mum kept them before she died. She kept everything. I just get it at Dad. But it was funny. It was on, and I looked down and I had the FA Midland Youth Cup winners, two of them, I think. Two of the Saturday morning leagues winners won the league. The reserve team won the league. Then you progressed. I mean, the youth policy was that strong. You progressed. I mean,
by the way, those games meant something. Those leagues. Remember the reserve league? You were out to win that league.
Yeah. Oh, I can remember the gaffer going mad at them.
Yeah.
Going mad at them. He done me one night. We lost to Man U 1-0. Dudley, Brett took a throw into me.
Is this in the City ground?
Lad got in front of me. Clayton Blackmore plays a 1-2, crosses it, and someone nods it in. Gaffer comes in at half time, goes, I arrived late, lads. I don't think he did. He goes, I arrived late, lads. He goes, who cost me the goal? So I'm thinking, well, really, it was me. I don't know. I was 16. And Dudley goes, well, Clayton Blackmore, Gaffer, he's played a 1-2, and it was a good 1-2. But I stood up and went, nah, it was me, Gaffer. I said, Dudley threw me the ball, he got in front of me. He spun on me and goes, don't you cost me another. But he smirked and walked out. And I thought, he knew it was me. He was going to really have me if I didn't. He just went halfway on me a little bit because it was my fault. But that was the type of video. If you owned up to something or put your hand up, he just went, yeah, that's good, and walked out. He didn't like anyone throwing anyone under the bus. He would have you. And that was a good part. And then a lot of the lads he brought in, you know, we had Rice in the dressing room and all them people. They were the proper men. You know what I mean? You had to sink or swim with them.
It's amazing, you know, sports psychology is a relatively recent innovation, really, in the top level game. But it's amazing when you talk about, like you say, Ricey and his insecurity that he talked about, and Macca, you've talked about it. The Clough actually was, before sports psychology had a name, Clough had kind of mastered it. He knew how to deal with different personalities and get the best out of them. Yeah,
I think there was a couple of lads he ruffled their skin very often. He'd get after them, and other bits and bobs he wouldn't. And so he knew what he was doing. I mean, I think he had an impact all the time because you didn't see him much. He had a massive impact when he came round the building, and obviously that was when everything went up a notch, and it was mental. I mean, I can name some of the stuff where, I mean, remember we played Tottenham and the psychology. We drew one each at home. Second leg was down there, and after the game, I remember the gaffer was bouncing and changing. Like, these 2-leg games, lads, all you need to do is still be in the game after the first leg. He said, we're still in it, we'll go to Tottenham and win. And he kept saying it and repeating it in team meetings and blah. And like, by the time you'd had a shower and got ready and came out, you fancied it. You thought, yeah, we'll go there and win. We'll go there and win. Yeah. He was that sort of man where he knew further down the track what he needed to do to get that sort of level of performance. And that was sort of thing he was really, really good at.
And I remember hearing this at the time, and I can't remember exactly where, but I remember always sort of hearing, even as a young fan, that he was really keen on you. I don't know if that was something that you were aware of as a player.
No, it was yeah, he looked after me. I mean, I heard Ricey say, like, he looked after me. I mean, I was straight off the council estate. He looked after me. We had a few good bonuses at times, and one of the ones he goes, I was trying to buy my. This is the thing. It's an honest thing. I was trying to buy my mum and dad's council house for them. He comes up to me and he goes, I was on the bench for a game where we got a little bit of money, and he goes, "Hey, I bought your mum and dad their house, didn't I?" And like, so I was looking at him because we won and we got a bonus, and he went, "Make sure you buy it for them." Like, now, what other manager says that? Yeah. You know what I mean? He used to say, "Look after your mum and dad,"
or even
look
cares.
After yeah. That's it. So he knew exactly, he knew where I'd come from, and he knew the situation. I mean, that's probably why he squeezed a lot out of people, because he went that bit more to help them. And he done a lot of things I know that the boys step up to them to talk about that helped them out big time. So yeah, he was more than just you pop into the club, a manager, if you like. He was doing the whole thing.
And who were the characters that he had to sort of get stuck into a bit more? Who did he have to be a bit harsher with?
He used to like having a nibble at people. He was fond of having a nibble at Lawsy. He used to call Lawsy the coach. And because Lawsy was doing his badges, and it done well for Lawsy because he went on to coach and manage. Hey, coach, what are you? And you think he's having a go at Ernie again. I mean, it was a bit. But Lawsy knew what he was doing, because Lawsy was clued up. He went and got his badges and went on to had good spells as manager. But he just have a little nibble at people and keep people on their toes. One of the ones he done with me was, and it was interesting when he gave me a bit of stick, and then about giving the ball away and that, and he goes, "Oh," and he said about there's a lot of unemployment in Corby. Mm-hmm. So I thought, yeah. He goes, "Well, don't become one of them. If you keep giving the ball away, you will be." And I thought, right. So I was brought up with the steelworks in Corby, where people are on strike, and the employment, and obviously the gaffer's socialist views, he would know that. And my father-in-law was one on strike. My dad had done it before. So that was, there's a lot of unemployment in Corby. And you're like, where's this going? Where's this come from? And bang, don't you become one of them? And like, so that he was really spot on with that. You know what I mean?
I have to say, Clough, you've given us possibly 4 stories there about you giving the ball away. I think I can remember you giving the ball away about 4 times.
Yeah, I know.
You very rarely gave the ball away.
Else. Yeah. I couldn't do much else, but I had a decent touch, and I could play off both feet.
Oh yeah,
which the gaffer liked. But because
my debut hold the ball up all day, mate, all day long.
Yeah,
great to play up front with.
Yeah, well, my debut was left wing, and I called that position the graveyard.
Yeah,
because one day they kept changing people play out there until from Robbo leaving and Woney coming in, no one had it. Ricey had a go, Millsy did, Dave Campbell, if you remember Dave, myself, Tommy Gaynor, Gemmo played out there. And we're having a laugh in the dressing room about it. Who's going to play left wing today? And I said, "Oh, the graveyard." And someone stumbled over someone out on the far side of the pitch. And we're talking about it on the Monday. And I said, "That's where they bury the lads." So that's where they bury the other lads that played out there. And it says, "It's a graveyard in that corner." I said, "We're all in there." And until Wiz came along, when Woney came along, he sort of made it his own. But for like 5, 6, 7 years, people were in
why
and out.
Was that? It's because Piercy was so great at bombing forward. It was his position as well.
I don't know. I don't know whether it was the other position seemed to be sewn up with it. I don't know whether he just changed it a lot there, or it might have been to do with Piercy, because he used to do stuff with Piercy like just say, "Piercy, just keep going, forget about what's behind you." I mean, we were speaking to a manager recently, and he said, I said, when the gaffer used to say when the centre half came out with the ball and played it wide, the gaffer would go, "Why did you stop?" And he'd be like, "Well, because they've got two." No. Go and get in the box. We'll get the ball in. We might score. Whereas I've seen a lot of managers, "Well, you've played that out there. You get back."
Yeah.
Whereas the gaffer was like, no. Just overload the box, get the ball in. We'll get something. And that was a real he was after the games all the time, wherever you played. That was, I think, I really took from him. It's just wherever you played, the tactics were the same. We'll get after them. They were good.
I don't think we've talked to anyone else about this before, but your memory seems to be so good, Lee. I've always been interested at the kind of Clough-Pearce relationship, because they're two such, in terms of character, Pearce, obviously just this incredible national figure during the time that he's at Forest and goes through that, that incredible national story. And Clough has, arguably the greatest manager of all time, and that two really powerful individuals both involved at the same club at the same time. I remember reading Clough's autobiography as a kid, and it felt like there was always a bit of tension between the two of them. I don't know what it was like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I didn't notice any tension. I think there was a massive respect, and the gaffer would say to Piercy about stuff, sort this out and whatever. And yeah, there wasn't that was a real healthy respect. I didn't notice any real tension in it. It was a real healthy respect. I mean, Piercy went on, and I think, it was a spell when you got to say he's probably one of the best left backs in the world. He really went on. I mean, I actually, when I went in there, I had a couple of years, as I said, sitting quietly in the corner, and then it was a couple of gigs on, and a couple of the bands I liked, and I was sitting there. I was itching. I was going to even put my hand up like I was at school and say, "Is there any tickets?" Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. I was itching, and he goes, "Oh, I've got some tickets for The Cure." And I thought, "Oh no!" I thought that's my favourite band. So I went, "Yeah." I said, "Is there any spare skip?" I was waiting for what? Who wants some? Do you know someone that wants a ticket? Like one of them. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Come with me." So I thought good. So I went to this Cure gig, and then he goes, "Oh, Spear of Destiny." I was a big Spear fan, so we had a real good crew for that. That was in Nottingham. We had quite a few lads turn up for that.
I missed my era, mate.
Yeah,
you'd have loved it. Stuff. I'd have been there all the time.
You'd have loved it, mate. I mean, that one, the Spear gig, we trained and we went home, and on a Wednesday. It was a Wednesday night. It was Wednesday or Tuesday. We train went on, and they come on about Rock City. They come on about 9:30, didn't they?
Yeah.
In there. And I said to the skip, I was picking Daichi up on the way, because he was staying with Woney. Woney had been pulled into a resi game, so Woney wasn't. I think Woney, yeah.
He'd have taken that well, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he was raging. He goes, "You're all going on." So I said, "Daichi, I'll get you in a cab about whatever." And I said to Percy, I said, "What time?" I said, "They're on at 9:30, about 7:30, 7:45. He goes, No. Get me at 4. I thought, this is going to get messy, isn't it? So I get the taxi, and I get Daichi, and we get this, and we go into town. Remember Jallens?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's still there. Jallens
downstairs.
Yeah. We go in there. We're in there at 4:30, 4:45, and there was a good group. Terry Wilson would have been there. Good crew was in it. We got real messy. And, we went to the gig. All sorts going on. Brilliant gig. Brilliant gig. Good crowd in. I mean, we went to the gig, and we all obviously had a pass because the club in that had a good deal with Rock City, and there was loads of spectators. And you could see the spectators going, "Now the full squad's here. They're all here." And we come in. We went to the bar, and it was real good. We had a close-knit outfit for the gigs, and Kirk invited us all backstage, so we had more drinks, and we were all in awe of him. Like, he was a ledge. He was a ledge, and met him a couple of times, but what a proper guy, like. And he was like, "No, he was, the whole football club." He said, "Yeah." So we're all here. He said, "Like, anytime he's coming, give me a shout." His fan club boss was there. He said, "Give me a shout, we'll get you tickets." So, but Forest were up there then. Well, it was like, the old First Division, you call it Prem now. You're in the top half. You're always involved in cups. You did get these invites. I mean, we went to one with Stranglers, and that was down in Leicester. I think Woney, Daichi, Duds was there, myself, and the skipper, because he was a big fan of theirs. And that got really messy. And that, when we went there, we had a lot to drink, and the band came in and had a drink with us after. And it got in the Sun newspaper. Daichi put it in a couple of years ago because he gave me a text. I don't know what happened. Someone banged the table afterwards. The band had got on the tour bus to go back to London. Somebody knocked the table over, something smashed. And then like a bit of a skirmish started, and like changing room got smashed up. I remember this road did smash. There's some people on the periphery that just got out. Like, it was just us in there, and this things got smashed and that. And this roadie came round, and he had little tight jeans on, little vest up. He went, "What's going on here?" And I don't know who it was. Somebody went, "Rock and roll, mate." And we walked by him in the dressing room, and oh my God. You're cringing now. As a middle-aged man, you're cringing. But like, as a 20-year-old, I've got to say,
you're having it.
Yeah. As a 20-year-old, you're getting on the back of it. You're having it all day. We smashed, and it was like. And then Daichi said, one of the Sun, he'd done an article in the Sun recently, a couple of years ago. He goes, "Glove, they've only pulled out the Stranglers gig." He says, "I told them about it." He said, "They knew all about it." He goes, "Yeah, and he's done this and that." He said, "They didn't go into details, but he just said the dressing room got smashed up." And that was like, I remember them sort of days. I was like, because that's how my kids now, because they're into bands and concerts the way we were, and they're going to gigs. I said, "Oh yeah, we used to go there and we used to do this, and we always got a little invite." And but Forest were that high up in the pecking order that you got the invites. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Really
Daichi, you and Daichi, this sort of Kettering connection at Forest.
Yeah. Well, Daichi's from. We played in a cup final, junior school cup final, where Daichi came from Kettering. I'm from Corby, and he tells this story. I'm not sure where it's true, but we drew one each away, and then they beat us 5-1 at our place in the replay of a cup final. And he says, "Oh God, when we got on our minibus to go back to our school, some of the lads from that estate, which is where I was brought up, it's quite a lively estate, started bricking us." I says, "We take it serious over here, mate. You know what I mean?" So I had a bit of banter with him. They'd done us in a cup final, like, and but me and Daichi played in the junior sides and county sides going through together, and then I joined the year before him, and then he came in with Stoney and Nick Ashby and all them. So Daichi came in then, yeah, good lad. I speak to Daichi once a month and have a game of golf with him, and yeah, we keep in touch.
He's a legend, mate.
Yeah, he was superb on this. He had so many stories. That story about him being like dangled by his ankles off the top of the main stand, like sounded incredible.
Oh, was that when you? Yeah, because you used to do bits and bobs at the ground. Yeah, I mean, I'm scared of heights, and the reason I found out is someone took us up on top of the exec stand, and you went through a little thing through a hole, but then when you got on the stand, there's no fence, and I went back down. He goes, "What are you doing?" I says, I was shaking like that.
Yeah.
And there was this like, "Oh no, as part of your the YTS, you had to do certain jobs and learn things." I thought, "What, go on a roof?" No. That's not me. You can imagine how high that is, the stand.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, "We'll go on the roof and we'll clean it or we'll do something." But no, not for me. I'll do the pitch part of it, you know.
Yeah, and it's a slope, isn't it? So if you slip on a leaf or there's a gust of wind, that's it.
Well, I was all right because I was snake's belly low and I was reversing backwards down the hole because I thought, I'm absolutely petrified on here. Some of the lads, to be fair, would just walk round. I can't remember if Big Norton was on it with us. I know Charles, he must have been because he was my age. Some of the jobs you had to do were like, there was no health and safety.
I was just about to say, imagine HR now.
You know what? It's the Forest equivalent. You know that famous New York picture of all the guys having their lunch on the girder?
Yeah.
Somewhere will be a team photo of everyone sat along the front of the old exec stand. Sounds so perilous.
Yeah, it was frightening. But them days there was no health and safety. I was at the club when it was a real good time. I mean, I got a bit of stick off for the fans, and I was at a golf day at Grantham. I remember this. Just putting out. We hadn't started yet, putting out. And this Forest fan came over, and Grantham's got a lot of Forest fans, and by the way. He goes, God, I used to give you some stick. And I went, oh, yeah, cheers. Thanks for that one. You know.
Nice to know.
And he comes over and goes, but his mate went, yeah, and we were just saying, I bet he wish he could give you stick now. And I thought, is he lining me up for something? He goes, you know why? I goes, why? He goes, because he says, we were just talking when he was giving you stick, the club was in the Prem, in the finals and semi-finals.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought, you know what? I thought, great answer. So I just put that one in the top pocket, right? I thought, I'll keep that. And if I get a bit of hassle, but I can throw that one out. So, I bet you wish you could do it now, mate.
Yeah.
So, but that was down, that was down to the gaffer with the sort of the way it was run. I had some real good memories. I mean, the Tottenham semi-final in the, remember the bomb scare?
Yes, the Rumbelows semi-final. It got delayed for hours.
Well, I wasn't playing, and we were on our way to the ground, and the police, you had motorcycles out, and they stopped the bus. And they come on board, and the gaffer, like, obviously chatting with them, the gaffer come down and went, there's been a delay, lads. And this is a real good message. This is a psychology. There's been a delay. There's an IRA bomb. They're just sweeping the building. We're going to play. And he went back and he said, hey, the game's definitely on. Don't step off it. The game's definitely on. And he went down, and I think we were sitting in this lay-by for about an hour. We had a coffee or a tea and whatever. We all had chocolate on the bus. We used to have a lot of chocolate on the bus. Remember that, Macca?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
We used to have chocolate on the bus. I mean, there's loads of chocolate on the bus, right? And I get stick for getting a can of Pepsi before a game. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So, but anyway, so some of the lads used to play hearts, they played that, and then I always used to have a music video on, a compilation of different songs. We just put that on, and then we went to the game. And we went on, and I wasn't playing. Kingsley Black was playing, and I was coming off the pitch, and Alan Hill was there. And Alan's like, he's winking at me, and I went in the dressing room. He goes, "Gaffer, went, you're playing." The pitch was an absolute mud bath, and it was raining. He goes, "You're playing." So I was thinking, I'm in the graveyard then, because Ted and Nigel are up front. I'll be in the graveyard. He goes, "No." He must have read my thoughts. He goes, "No, not left wing." He said, "I'm playing all three of us up front." He said, "One of you just need to drift wide onto the left." He said, "I just want the ball stuck in their half." He says, "Because the pitch is going to be played as a back to front game sort of thing." So anyway, we played. Roy Keane got a brilliant header, absolutely
Amazing.
brilliant header, and we won 2-1. And before the game, me and Nigel was like, "We'll leave Ted as the focal point, and we'll drift left or right, and just play off him." And but to be fair, at that stage, Piercy was flying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like, so if you left him 2v1, it was like, oh, he'll deal with one of them. You know what I mean? A good story about Piercy is we played at Chelsea back in the day. I digress again. And I always remember this. And I was in the graveyard. It was my fourth game in. We're down at fourth or fifth game in of that season when I made my debut, Chelsea away. And Piercy comes up to me, he never done a warm-up. He came out after the warm-up when we were going to start. He goes, "I might have a few problems today, Gov." I goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Pat Nevin, lively." He goes, "I might need you to double up." And it's the only time he's ever said it to me. So I goes, "All right." 5 minutes into the game, he smashes Pat Nevin into the shed. And he goes, I swear to God, he turns to me and goes, "Clough, just go forward, you're all right." Yeah. And Pat Nevin, it was funny because Pat Nevin kept saying to the ref, "Ref, if you're going to give me any protection," he was going, "Pat, he's getting the ball first." And Pat's going, "Yeah, but he's fucking getting me after it." Like, so it was hilarious. So that was the sort of thing. And that game was one of the things he done. He just bombed me on.
That game was amazing because I remember it so clearly from the time. I remember there being a drop ball and the pitch was such a state it didn't bounce. It just went straight into the mud. But the reason I remember it so clearly because that bomb scare, I watched it at my friend's house. And obviously this is before the internet. This is before mobile phones. And my mate's dad had one of those tellies that you had to put £1 in the side of. And because the game was delayed it cost him a fortune. Because the game was delayed by about 3 hours. He was like, his week's wages went into the side of that telly before the game had even kicked off.
And then it went to extra time.
Yeah, it was just like, his poor dad was going spare. It was just like, it's costing me a fortune.
Great.
And the reason why that game meant so much, of course, it was the year after the cup final. So that kind of felt like some sort of revenge. That cup final. I was so sad. We've reminisced about it with so many players, and I really struggled to watch it back. But you have an amazing role in that cup final, which is, well, I guess let's start with the question: would that free kick still go in without you making a hole in the wall?
I think there's a good chance it would. The thing was, we'd had a few free kicks where we're speaking with the skipper. I said, "I'll get on the end of the wall and like smash it at me," because he has got that. He'd had that whip in the corner that the keeper's meant to be doing. But the keeper's always stepped that way. So, and I think it was Gary Mabbott, and I didn't actually mean to do it. What happened was he was getting hold of me, and as I've resisted, just as it's happening, he stumbled a bit, and we've went. And it looked perfect if you watch it on the telly. Because I remember one of my mates said, I think it might have been Jimmy Hill was on the telly going, that shouldn't be allowed. But it was just a bit of grappling. But we were actually wanting to create the hole. And I used that at other clubs I went to. If anyone's got that sort of whippage, I say, get on the end of the wall in the keeper's line. Let him smash it out. You just get out of the way last minute. You know what I mean? One of them.
Such a great goal as well. It looked amazing. And at that point, it felt like fate at that point. The only trophy Clough hadn't won. Forest go 1-0 up. Psychos go. It's like, this is just, at this point, it felt like everything was going to plan.
It felt as part of the trajectory as well, didn't it, that the club was on?
Yeah.
It felt natural.
Yeah. I think...
That it was due.
Yeah. And then we had a couple of half chances. Because the club was in good form up to then, the games before. And I remember I was rooming with Wolney, and the gaffer sort of came down the bus and announced the team, or I think Ron did. And because there was Hodgie, Gary Parker, Brian Laws with Charlesy, Gemma was fit. There was old people coming back fit, as you do for a cup final. Everyone's declaring themselves fit. And so there was all that in the mix as well. And, so it was one of them where you thought, because I remember getting back to room, and me and Wolney were delighted because we were playing. But then I actually give my son's probably got that medal upstairs, but I've never watched it back. I didn't watch it back at all afterwards because it's one of the games where as soon as you hear about it, you just feel gutted. I mean, I'm sitting there, you're married with kids, but you can't take any of that moment. I'll absolutely spew about that still now. Everyone is. It's one of the things you go, oh my God, you're gutted about it. But the semi-final was good against West Ham. But we played Liverpool in a few semis before that. It was every year there was some sort of latter stages of cup competitions, league or FA, Yeah, so yeah, spewing about that one still.
I mean, that one hurts. Obviously, it's the FA Cup, so it's the biggest one. But also it's the injustice of Gascoigne not even being shown a yellow card. It's I still remember that like it was a miscarriage of justice. Like there should be a public inquiry. And like, like, why? That really hurts me. I can never forgive Roger Milford for it. I just like, it's still...
I think he carries that baggage as well. I think he realises now that, something should have been done. And like the injury, injured himself, and he was wound up in the tunnel and that. He was on the edge then. But look, he should have been done, shouldn't he? He should have had the I don't want to say the bollocks, so he should have done something probably at the time. But it's a skewer, isn't it?
And what else do you remember about the? I mean, obviously because it's kind of like sort of simultaneously an amazing but tragic memory as well. Like, do you remember meeting Princess Di?
Well, it's funny because the other day, my with what was going on with Harry and Meghan, my son has been over in China teaching English. He's come back here with his girlfriend, a Chinese girl. So she obviously knows about Diana and loads of stuff because everything's global. And when someone dug out a photo of me meeting her, she went crazy. Oh, look at that. And you think, because at the time you didn't think anything of it. It's just when obviously William or Harry you get mentioned and stuff, and then the sort of icon that Diana was. But yeah, so that was if I could choose what role I'd want to meet at that time, well, the Queen would probably be first, then her, and that was the same with a lot of the lads. But yeah, iconic person, and you always say you met her. And I prefer to not have met her and still won. I prefer to have met Andrew or someone and still won. You know what I mean? But you can't have it all.
So you've still got your cup final medal.
Yeah, my son will have that. Yeah.
And what other stuff? Top. The shirt, and have you kept?
Top,
What other stuff have you kept from your time at Forest?
The Littlewoods winners medal, one winner, one runner up. Because I was on that one. I was on just as it flipped on the way to Tottenham, the semi, and I was playing. On the way to the final, I was sitting with Kingsley Black. Me and KB are sitting there having a coffee, and I knew me or him were going to get the shout for the final against Man U. So you're sitting there with him, but you're thinking, please let it be me. He's the same. And as I'd had the shout for the Tottenham game, this time I got the custard pie. So one of them, Kings, you're playing, glove, you know what I mean? Get the kit. Oh, cheers, okay. One of them. So it was that sort of feel for us. The gaffer would do anything at the last minute, and so you got some days you got the shout to go in, and other days you didn't. But that was another cup final. It was I think we lost 1-0. I think Brett played in that. I think Dudley might have played in that.
Yeah, he did, because Pearce injured himself in the ZDS final, didn't he, against Southampton?
Done his knee, didn't he? Tweaked his medial.
And then I think Brian McClare scored for United. They had that blue away kit. I remember that. It's mad how you remember these things. I mean, I've never watched any of that cup final back. I just remember it so clearly. Like, we just at Wembley all the time.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the kits. Do you remember the yellow? You might not remember it. I'm going back now. The yellow Adidas blue Skull kit. Skull was a Skull.
Yeah, lovely.
I love the Skull kit.
I was 15. I thought, please let them still be sponsored by them and that kit next season. Why are you thinking that? It's random, isn't it? What are you thinking? That's a top kit. That's
the cracking kit.
Yeah. And then I did like the they brought I like the white away kit. I think it was Shipston's. I like that.
Yeah.
And they had a green kit for a while.
That's right.
With the zigzag on it.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, that's not bad. I used to like some of the kits. But that Forest kit there, I like the Adidas one, the blue one, the Skull kit. Because I remember them winning at Man U. I hadn't joined the club 3-2. And I think Nigel might have scored, and I think they had that on. and it was on Match of the Day or something, and I thought, well, that's a nice kit. And we got to wear it pre-season before the other stuff came in. I was thinking, yeah, that's the sort of thing that I like. You know what I mean? It's nice.
There's that amazing photo of Nige with the orange ball and that skull kit on the home skull kit. It's a phenomenal photograph.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about, Fordy?
I know the exact one, and it's like there's a bit of snow on the pitch. I think there's one of Johnny Method from a similar game.
Right.
Yeah. They must have all been taken on the same day. Really good. But that home kit from the 91 Cup final and the 92 ZDS and League Cup final, that was lovely, that, with the sort of white polo shirt collar.
Yeah.
And the Shipston's fine beers. That was I loved everything about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You had to have your shirt tucked in. You have to have your shirt in. Anyone had the shirt out got hammered off the gaffer. So, the shirts were in all the time. Yeah, it was a nice kit. I like that one. And
then the last home kit you'd have played in was the pinstripe.
Labatt's?
Yeah, Labatt's and Shipston's, wasn't it? It was Labatt's for big games and Shipston's for ones that weren't on telly. I only found that out recently. I was like, why do we sometimes, as a kid, you don't know that? But I read it on the internet. When we were on Sky, basically, it would be Labatt's, and if not, it was Shipston's. Yeah, exactly,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
And you couldn't buy it with Labatt's on. So if anyone's got one with Labatt's on, they're like, they must have been player issue, basically.
Yeah. I've got a couple of the tops up the stairs, so you keep them in a drawer, don't you? You don't parade around in them like that. You know what I mean? As much as you'd like to, you don't do it.
But would you ever get them framed and displayed?
I got my Scotland one framed, and that the family got that for me. But I ain't got any sort of football memorabilia about. I mean, I've got the dogs over here. The photos of there's more photos of the dogs than me in the house. I mean, I don't know if you should tell me something. Photos of dogs everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's one of them. I don't. But you know what? You open a drawer and you see something. You go, oh, yeah, remember that. Or I've got loads and loads of programs in a big sort of trunk, and you open it, and you think, oh, I can remember that. You remember bits and bobs. That's a nice thing. And also, I remember, if you go to Nottingham, I was like, we had relatives over from Chicago, the Mrs.'s family, and one of them took them to Nottingham to do the trip and they drove back over Trent Bridge. And that's really good, because every time I drive over, I just look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could be over the lanes, like I'm just looking at the ground, because you do. It just sucks you in, and you think, fucking hell, that's brilliant, isn't it?
Just remember driving over there on a match day, fans everywhere, music blaring in your car, driving over thinking, come on, we're having it today. Oh, man. Got shivers there, got shivers, Incredible.
Yeah, you do. And she goes, so it was our cousin, and she goes, oh, we drove over that bridge, and I seen that stand and all that, and I'm sitting there, and I'm the same as you. I'm getting goosebumps, thinking, I know exactly what you mean. Imagine playing it. Imagine being part of that. But one thing I would say, I remember going when we played away. We had a really good away support. Forest. They had a real good following. I remember once we come off the North Circular in London, and it might have been Tottenham around the Christmas time, because we always seem to get Tottenham around Christmas. I don't know why. And we came down the road and we went around a roundabout where there was a couple of pubs. It was absolutely rammed. And the gaffer came down the bus, and he had that curtain, pulled the curtain back. He went, look, they've all followed you today. Half of them can't afford to be here, but they have come to follow you. I mean, that was a psychology game, So you're looking at them, and they all came out the pub, or the ones that were in the courtyard, and were chanting and that, and you thought, we've brought a few fans with us today. And I always thought, I was fortunate. Some of the clubs I played for, the away support was really good, and I thought, that was a thing I remember.
Do you think it's just occurred to me, Glove? Do you think the fact that you did feel like you owed the fans, because it was very real, the fan would pay their money, that would pay your wages, and nowadays it's not the fans' money that pays the players' wages? Do you think it's interesting that the fans, that the players don't necessarily feel they owe the fans a performance? Or
well, I think it's distance now, isn't it? It's distance. I think you're spot on. Look, the money's been injected has made that gulf become bigger, and I think the players don't have as much interaction with the fans. I mean, I'm going back. You can talk our time. You'd be in a pub, you'd chat to a few fans, and I think now that there is a distance with them and whatnot, and I'm not
even
sure
though there's Twitter and all the social media and stuff, it still seems it's still actually distance, isn't it? By definition, it's interaction of a sort.
Yeah. So there'd be formal interaction back in the day. There'd be a closeness there that you probably wouldn't get now. And I just think that part of the game's been lost. And a lot of the pros you speak to now played our generation. They say we played in a good year, good years, because there was that bit of closeness, and it was before it went sort of the way it did.
Lee, we always end by asking players the sorts of questions you used to get in magazines back in the day. We had some amazing ones from Chris Bott-Williams. We're going to compare the answers you give now to the ones that you gave. And Macca has managed to dig out a Q&A from, what year is it, Paul?
Oh, gosh.
90s, I think, or late 80s.
It looks, it's going to be around 90. But I'll be interested to know if you can get any of these right, Glove.
Okay. I mean, there is one that Brian Rice filled out once for me, so I don't know if this is the one he got to me before and then signed my name on it.
It
could be anything.
It could well be when you. All right, favorite TV show. What would you have put back then?
Oh, I know. Did he put Minder?
Yes.
And Charlie Brown.
Oh, Charlie Brown. Yeah. The comic. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Where we go? Car.
Well, I've never had a flash car in my life, because I had a Nissan Bluebird when I was at Forest. I used to get flagged down. People would flag me down, think it was a taxi. So now, mate, I'm going to the game.
Don't go
I
surfing
used
a
to get
river.
caned for it.
It actually says none, but I'm looking at one.
That might be the one I was sitting on the gaffer's Merc. Have you got the photo?
No, there isn't a photo with it. No.
Wow.
Oh, but if you look, Paul, there is if you zoom out as far as you can on that, there is a car on the next page. Can you see that? Look to the right.
White
Merc.
Might be a white Merc. Yeah.
That's a gaffer's car. Because he said to me, "What were you doing sitting on my car?" And I goes, "Oh, the photographer asked me to." I just threw the photographer under the bus. He goes, "He asked me
to." Here we go. Well, I've not heard these. So nicknames. You've got Glove.
Whitey will be one. Willie will be another.
Willie.
Yeah. Is Whitey there?
No.
Because I got a basset hound called Walter, and then they all started calling me Whitey. That was from the skipper. Oh, what else is in there?
The Eagle.
Oh, yeah, Eddie the Eagle. Because my first name was Edward, so it was Eddie the Eagle. So, yeah, I forgot that one. I forgot about him.
Fair enough. Who we got? Favorite player?
Favorite player? Well, for a period, I used to put Dean Saunders down. Davy Cooper, Rangers would have been.
There you go.
One.
Yeah. Davy Cooper, Rangers. Yeah. Favorite drink?
Well, I like Iron Brew.
You got Iron Brew.
Is it alcoholic?
Yeah.
An alcoholic drink. Well, it'd be some sort of lager.
I
like Miller MG. Lager and lime. Well, I like Miller MGD now, but I thought not back then. I wouldn't have had one of them then. That was before the era of bottles coming in.
What else should we go for here? There's loads.
Favorite
superstitions.
Food? Oh, go on. Superstitions is a good one.
I don't know where we're at. Well, I used to get changed the same way. My right boot would go on first. I don't know. I used to be last out sometimes. I can't really think of many of them. Follow the same routine, like.
Well, that was exactly what you said, word for word. I follow the same match day routine. Favorite food?
Prawns and steak, I'd imagine.
Steak, yeah. Favorite other sportsman?
Wow.
Not football.
Yeah, I'm struggling there. Be a golfer, maybe.
No.
Well, what sport is it? Narrow it
cricket.
down.
I'll give you cricket.
Oh, Ian Botham.
There you go.
Ian Botham. Yeah.
Straight away.
Beefy. Yeah, Beefy. Yeah, I liked him. I've got a fondness for him, mate. Yeah.
That's about it on that. But I'll ask you. What's your favourite Cure album?
2, The Head on the Door, which was released in '85, and then Disintegration with Bruno. That's the tour I've seen them on.
Yeah,
I followed them everywhere on that. Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Never got any backstage. I got backstage with Carter, USM, and The Cure when they were doing something in Finsbury Park, and they didn't come out. I thought, please let them come out. And then I thought, nah, you don't want to meet them, Glove. I was speaking in the third sense to myself. I just don't want to meet them, guys. Don't let them come out. And then I thought, yeah, come out and I'll have a beer. And I thought, nah, don't. And they didn't come out. So denied. I even got in touch with the fan club boss, because the fan club boss with the Cure and Depeche Mode were into football and that, and they used to go, yeah. And so we went and seen Depeche. They love their football. So we had but the Cure
What a
never.
band.
Yeah, I love them. But both fans, the Cure.
Depeche as well,
Depeche
yeah.
were brilliant. Great gig. We went and seen them. A few of the boys went over to Birmingham NEC, seen them.
Wow.
They're brilliant.
Saw them
They
Wembley
came
a
out and had
couple of
big
years ago.
crack.
Did they?
Yeah, they're good lads back in the day. Yeah,
Lee,
but the Cure was.
Did you ever get to see Merck?
I heard about it, but you can't, you can't ride two horses or one ass. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. you learn the hard way, don't you?
It's like Frank Clark all over again.
Yeah.
Very difficult, but that was, you loved that, didn't you? You were into it. It's in you. You can't really.
Well, it's something I've always done, mate, and it was just one of those ones. Football paid first, and I was just in a band the whole time through school and all that, and then But like I've always said on here, it was a school band. You know what I mean? That all came too soon.
Yeah, but a lot of people that are in the music industry that love football, we find out that they've been doing both, and they have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's one of them things.
Well, I was just hedging my bets as a lad off a council estate like yourself. You just hedge your bets, don't you? Right, I'm either going to be in a band or I'm going to be a footballer. I've got no other choice. I'm thick as fuck. And that's what's happening.
Oh man, Lee, this has been such a pleasure, Lee.
No worries. I enjoyed it.
It's been a real privilege. Thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully, when life returns and we start doing these again, you can come to one in the studio. Come to Nottingham, we'll go for a few beers afterwards. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks. It's been a real treat.
See you again, Glove. Look after yourself, pal.
No worries.
Cheers, Lee. Cheers, Paul.
Top man.
Oh, you know what really stays with me about that? It's just what a happy man he is, and just that he. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm putting this on him, but it felt to me like he just had the time of his life, and it just happened to be that he was a footballer.
Well, we get that a lot, don't we? People, I mean, you're going to get people come on and talk fondly of Forest, but there are several ex-players that haven't come onto this show, and possibly that's the reason they didn't have a pleasant time. But it's amazing, isn't it, when they come on and they are just overflowing with fondness for the club, the city. It's amazing. It's so good.
He's such a happy soul, Lee. He was just like laughing and smiling throughout the whole thing. A great storyteller, a phenomenal recall and memory. And it made it feel like his time at Forest was almost, it was like watching a sitcom. It was like a one big Only Fools and Horses special, but set at the City Ground. It sounded bonkers.
Yeah.
He was so great. And I hope there's so many of these. In a way, lockdown has made it easier to record these, because when life is hopefully returns to normal fairly soon, we record these at a studio in Nottingham, which means guests have to come to us often early in the day, midweek, which hugely restricts us. But with this, we've been able to just do it with people at home. So we've been able to get
which
some
has been
amazing
great.
guests.
But they do lose the bonus of hitting the 6 barrels afterwards.
Oh man,
it's coming.
Now that the weather's picking up a bit, I'm like,
getting a taste, aren't you?
Oh no, can't wait. But I guess what the great thing is, we could always record the odd one like this to get Glove or whoever else back on if they couldn't come and meet us in town. There's a way. Yeah. There's a way around it that lockdown has given us. So we really hope you're enjoying these episodes. We really hope you're keeping well, keeping your pecker up, and that life will start to soon return to normal.
We're getting there, kids. We're getting there.
But selfishly, and I know I say this quite a lot, recording these is just such a treat.
It really is. It's so lovely. I mean,
stories.
Without this, I could, I'd probably go through my entire life not seeing these people ever again. And it's just jumping into these little snippets of seeing familiar faces and old faces and faces that, you've shared pictures with and shared memories with. It's such a joy for me. It's such a joy.
Well, and I wonder how you feel personally, because obviously every episode we talk about whether they remember you or not and what they remember about you. They all remember you so vividly and they all remember you so fondly.
Well, again, maybe they're just being kind because I'm sat here. But again, that's lovely to hear.
I don't think they're just saying it. I think we've had people on here that would really speak their mind. And I think they might couch it in friendly terms, but they might say, oh, Macca was a bit tough. They always just say you were just such a lovely bloke and really talented. People really remember your talent.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of, I didn't do at Forest what I wanted to do at Forest and, etc. Didn't have the career I wanted to have. But it's, I tell you what's great. I'm living off this. When Brian Roy said I had pace like Overmars, I was like, I tell everyone that now. I tell absolutely everybody. I'm talking. I talk daily about that more than I talk about the Leon goal, if you can believe it.
Struggle, but I will get there.
Overmars, mate. Overmars speed. So Brian
so
Roy
cool.
said. So you take it up with Brian Roy. It's up to you.
And we have a bit of small talk at the beginning and end of these shows. But how are you, Paul? Are you keeping well?
How am I? Do you know what? Business is good. I'm busy. Writing loads of music. Written a script. I've been. If I hadn't have, it's just the way my brain works. It's on all the time. So I had to put it to some use because not having other people around, I'd have driven myself mad and my family mad. But I've channeled it fairly well. I've had, there's been some times where, like everybody, I'm sure everybody's been through it and been through it more extremely than I have, where, you're like, I can't do this much longer. Really can't do it much longer. This is hard work, man. This is, and things you wouldn't expect, like, I don't know. I'm waffling a little bit, but like just physical contact, hugging people, giving,
you miss me. I get it. You miss me. You're pining for me.
I miss my snuggles. I miss my 4 points in snuggles. Just cuddling on a settee somewhere in a bar in Nottingham.
6 barrels, 4 pints, 1 restraining order.
Oh man, yeah, but maybe these podcasts give people a little bit of joy, a little bit of light. How are you, mate? How's things?
Yes, good, but the same as you. Keeping busy, but just slightly bored. But I'm a compliant individual. I'm a cautious soul. So
you nearly jumped into Boris there.
Well, look, I want to pay. Let me pay tribute to the what do they call the Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Reservoir. Yes, Reservoir, Red. What are they? Sort of wolves, dogs. Great. The RRD, of course, almost as greatest contribution as NHS. But I want to pay tribute to Lee Glover and to Paul Macca. You call the Leon Lyondale. Great. Come on, we will be there again, friends, at the 6 barrels. And drinking sort of pork snack from behind the bar. Well, that was something.
Oh, mate! Wow. I wish everybody could have seen that.
But yeah,
what a joy! What a joy!
I kind of go along with the rules. I just think better safe than sorry, as difficult as it is. But with that said, agreed. Cannot wait to see you again. Cannot wait to go and watch Forest again, to go to the pub, to see family and friends. In the meantime, we are your companion through this. And obviously, we will continue in the future. So we just hope that for an hour or so, this has just taken you out of it and entertained you. Hopefully. And that credit belongs solely with Lee Glover for just being fantastic. And his accent, by the way, what an amazing Northampton Glaswegian.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Venn diagram of an accent. Such a cool guy. We will leave you now, and we'll see you soon. Rate and review us. Share this on social media. Tell your friends and family, and we'll keep knocking these out.
Stay safe, guys. Loads of love.
You.